Hi team, Coach Alexi here. Second video in my series on mindfulness, and some good questions came up from what I posted last time. And the first and most important, which is, what is mindfulness? You know, what is actually the definition of what that term means? So I thought I'd spend a couple of minutes today just going through my thoughts. So any words in our language have a definition. You know, there's a dictionary, there's definitions of what different words actually mean. So I thought I'd go up and look that up, and also kind of different people's slight interpretations of that official definition. So the nicest two definitions I've found are that mindfulness is about noticing what is happening in the present moment, kindly and without judgment. So that might be taking notice and being aware of our mind, our body, or our surroundings. And the other one that I found that I particularly liked is an active, open attention to the present. So I guess there are key things in that definition, one of which it is very much focused on the current moment in time, that present moment in time. We're not allowing or trying not to get our brains to think into the future or to ruminate on the past. It is very much about keeping our awareness, gently keeping our awareness on that present moment. And the other thing is, I guess, that we're trying not to force it. We're trying to just kind of be kind to ourselves, not be judgmental about what other thoughts about the past or future or whatever else might be going on, to-do lists and what I've got to do later, pop into our head. We're not trying not to get angry or upset or annoyed with ourselves about that. We're just noticing them and kind of acknowledging that they're there. And that might be, as I say, with our brain, our bodies, or what's going on around us. So not getting irritated by the person trimming his hedges next door, just noticing it and going, person's trimming his hedges. Okay. There was also a little bit of a discussion in one of the comments sections around what's the overlap or crossover between other different but similar terms. So one of them is flow state. So, you know, a lot of athletes across all types of different sport describe this sense of being so kind of focused on what they're doing in that moment with their bodies in that sport. You know, people playing Wimbledon or football at the moment, the Olympics coming up, they're not going to be thinking about the future or the past. What they hopefully are thinking about in that moment of high performance sport is the very thing they're doing at that exact moment, making sure that everything that they do is enacted correctly, you know, across that sequence. So, and lots of ways in running where we can get into that flow state. It's something that used to happen with me, not all the time, but some of the time on longer runs. I'd get into it, and when I was maybe, you know, in the second half of a lovely long run, I would just be, you know, I wouldn't be problem solving, I wouldn't be ruminating, I wouldn't be thinking about anything in particular. My brain would have sort of chilled out, and I'd just be paying a gentle attention to what's going on around me, noticing the smells, the sights, the sounds, maybe, you know, saying hello to somebody if I saw someone coming the other way, noticing that I was thirsty or that I needed to eat something, or, you know, what the sun felt like on my face, that kind of thing. So when we're in that flow state, I think that is definitely a form of mindfulness. One that seems to be attached to perhaps physical activity or other things that we're doing. You know, skilled crafts might be another example. If you're, I don't know, making a chair by turning wood on a wood turner or something like that, you know, I imagine you would get into that mindful style flow state as well. I guess the broader definition of mindfulness might be you can get into that state without the physical activity. So you could be mindful on a train, on your commute, in your living room, first thing in the morning, you know, doing whatever you're doing. It's not tied in with perhaps that physical activity. The other potential overlap, I guess, would be with a kind of deep focused state, which again has a bit of an overlap with some aspects of flow, perhaps. So we're focusing and concentrating, you know, deeply on something. So we are then very much in the present with, again, what we're doing. So I think that probably, again, is a bit of a subset of mindfulness, has a bit of overlap. I wonder sometimes whether with deep focus, we've sort of deliberately chosen to put our minds or bodies or both towards something. So we're in a way trying to kind of influence where that focus of mindfulness is going, whereas mindfulness isn't about trying to influence what we're thinking about, it's just noticing what happens as opposed to trying to change it. So some overlaps there and quite an interesting discussion around it. And again, I'd love to hear You know, what's your experience of mindfulness around running, perhaps? And also, where do you find it in other parts of life? Where does it crop up in other activities or hobbies or times of day when you're doing other stuff? I hope that's useful.